How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Gaming Overload. So today we're jumping into the Corsair K70 Pro TKL. Now I did actually previously take a look at the K70 Core TKL, but these ones are pretty much like 90% the same. But the Pro does have some major upgrades that could be exactly what you're looking for your next gaming keyboard, because yeah, they're pretty big, especially if you're more of a pro gamer. So let's go over what makes the K70 Pro TKL so unique and see if it's actually worth getting over the cheaper K70 Core TKL. So starting off with pricing, the K70 Pro TKL starts at $179 for the ABS plastic version and $189 if you want the double shot PBT keycap version. Now at the time of filming, both of these are actually on special. For the Pro, it's going for $150 compared to the $180 and $80 compared to the $100 for the Core version. So you can save a bit there if it's still on special by the time you guys are watching this. Now just a quick reminder, I do actually have other channels as well, so if you want more awesome content, definitely check those out. There's Hardware Overload for all of the PC gear, Gaming Overload, which is probably this channel for all of our peripherals, and Unbox Overload is for all of our first unboxings and first impressions on all of the products that actually comes in. So definitely check those out if you want more content. Now the K70 Pro TKL comes in both a black and a white color options, and it features a 10 keyless design for both. The top plate is a brushed aluminum with the bottom being a plastic, which does help keep the keyboard lightweight, but also very sturdy with minimal deck flex and a frame twist. It features a floating key design, so you get a good visibility of the RGB lighting even from the other side. The magnetic palm rest is a very nice inclusion and makes typing much more comfortable. Now the magnets aren't overly strong, but it is good enough to keep it in place when moving the keyboard around. However, the padding is spot on with a thick but soft cushions and a breathable PU leather. Now underneath you do get the rubber pads in the corners and the single stage flip out feet with a grip pad that adds a good amount of elevation, especially again if you want to use it with the included palm rest. Now on the front left side you do have the port for the detachable braided 1.8 meter type C cable. Now moving on towards our keycaps, here's a bit of a difference between the K70 Core and the Pro version. The Pro version you actually get in two different keycap options. You either have the ABS plastic option or the PBT ones. Currently I have the ABS plastic ones here. There is about a $10 price difference between the two options, so just keep that in mind. Now the font is easy to read and it does allow the RGB to shine through nice and clearly. The ABS keycaps have a slightly textured surface, which should be good for those long gaming sessions, although it doesn't have the same feel as the PBT ones, and at this price point and only a $10 difference between the two, I would have wanted the PBT keycaps to be standard for the keyboard. And also, unfortunately, you do not get any extra keycaps inside the box, and you don't even get a keycap puller. Now, it's not really major, but I remember back in the day, I think with the older K70 keyboards, you actually got some additional keycaps just for your arrow keys or for your WASD keys. I don't really think I ever used it, to be honest, but it does add towards just a bit more customization for the keyboard, so it was nice, but yeah, it's not really that needed, but it's always nice. Now in the top right corner, you do get the gaming mode button to disable all of the additional keyboard commands that you can interrupt your gaming sessions, so that's a nice feature. And also it does change the RGB of the keyboard to red or whatever you set it to, so that's also pretty cool. Now you also have your media control via a dedicated button and the multifunctional dial wheel knob thing, which you can also customize through the Corsair IQ software. The control knob offers functions like a volume adjustment, brightness control, and scrolling vertically and horizontally, although I don't really know why you would really need that, but you can if you wanted to set it to that. However, this is now where Corsair really dropped the ball for the control knob in my opinion. Unfortunately, it is not fully programmable. You only have a couple of preset functions. It's a nice touch that adds a variability beyond just a gaming. It would have been so nice if I was able to actually add additional controls for, let's say, Premiere for my video editing to actually set settings just for that program or whatever, because you do have some of these knobs on the Elgato Stream Decks, so I would have imagined it was the same, but unfortunately it's not. However, there are plenty of FN functions for your lighting, for your macros, and for your keyboard shortcuts and all of that. So there's plenty of other macro style of functions that you can add towards the keyboard, and it's also per key. So each key can be set individually. Alright, now so far everything pretty much was exactly the same compared to the K70 Core here, except for the gaming button that's not on the Core and it's on the Pro. So everything else is pretty much the same except for the switches. So the K70 Core uses Corsair's MLX Red V2 switches. However, the Pro here uses Corsair's MGX Hyperdrive magnetic switches. Now these are also linear pre-lubed switches that, unlike the MLX on the Core version, offers extremely smooth typing experience. It's just awesome, honestly. The pre-lubrication means that the switches have a lubricant applied at the factory, reducing friction between the moving parts in the switch and ensuring constant and smooth key presses right out of the box. If you have used lube switches before, you know exactly the difference between a lubed and a non-lubed switch. And you would always go for the lubed switch because it's just so much better. This helps minimize noise and makes the typing feel more fluid, which is particularly beneficial for gaming and fast-paced typing. Although I'm not really that fast of a typer, so it doesn't really benefit me for that, but it's still very smooth to actually just use. Now, the MLX V2 switches on the Core feels very similar to both the MGX Hyperdrive and MLX Plasma switches, although not exactly the same, and they do also sound a bit different. But the major upgrade comes with the MGX Hyperdrive magnetic switches utilizing the Hall effect technology, which means that the actuation is detected by a magnetic sensor rather than a mechanical contact. Unlike the standard mechanical switches that uses a metal contact to register the key press, the magnetic sensors in the Hall effect switches reduces the likelihood of a double bounce issue and provides a longer lifespan rated up to 150 million keystrokes. Additionally, the actuation point can be adjusted from 0.1 millimeter to 4 millimeters. So that is all the way at the top and all the way at the bottom, like all the way and even in between. Now this offers a level of customization that is hard to find in traditional mechanical switches. You can even set 2 actuation points at different levels, allowing to assign multiple actions towards a single key press. For example, a light key press at that 0.1 millimeters could be used for your character just to slightly walk, slow-paced walk. But you can adjust it towards the 4 millimeters all the way at the bottom, so that could activate the sprint options. It's very similar towards the analog control on a controller, so that is on the switch itself now. Now this flexibility allows for a much more efficient gameplay and adds a layer of customization that can give you an edge in competitive scenarios. Now this also allows you to fine-tune the sensitivity of each key press, making it ideal for different use cases. For example, setting a lower actuation point, now that's at that 0.1 millimeters, could be advantageous for a gaming where quick key presses are crucial, allowing for faster response time. On the other hand, a higher actuation point, let's say at that 4 millimeters all the way at the bottom of the key press, that could prevent accidentally key presses during typing, providing a more deliberate and comfortable typing experience. I actually just thought about this. It could be very nice if you have, let's say, very fat fingers and if you press a key and you accidentally just slightly press on the other key. Don't know if it's really a problem, but yeah, if you have very big fingers, then There you go. Now also, compared to optical switches, which uses a beam of light to detect a key press, the magnetic switches offers a more customizable experience. Optical switches tend to be extremely fast, but lack the ability to adjust the actuation point as precisely as magnetic switches. The Hall effect magnetic technology allows for a more flexibility in setting a key sensitivity, making it ideal for gamers who want to customize their keyboard's feel. Additionally, while optical switches have a fewer moving parts than mechanical switches, the magnetic switches still provide a unique balance between durability and also tactile customization. Now, it is worth mentioning that not all of these switches feature the magnetic MGX switches. Some of them uses Corsair's MLX plasma switches like the arrow keys and some of these function keys as well. Alright, so now it's quickly time for our sound test to hear how these switches sound compared to some of the other mechanical switches that I have as well, even compared to the Core here, and hear the difference between a looped and non-looped switches also. Now moving on towards our RGB lighting, the keyboard does come with a per key RGB backlighting and it is impressively bright. It's just much more brighter in this room at the moment with the light, so you can't really see it super clearly right now, I believe, especially on camera. Now, if you want to control of the RGB lighting, you can do it with the FN functions. So you guys can see there all of the different RGB functions, presets, settings, and also the speed and the direction of those effects. However, if you want full control, you would need to go download the Corsair IQ software, which allows you to customize it to your heart's content with different layers and just everything per key and whatever. And of course, you do also have the option then for all of your different macro settings and everything else, and also your polling rate. So the keyboard comes with an 8000 hertz polling rate, which isn't necessarily that needed, but yeah, you do have that as an option if you want to limit the latency almost entirely. Now, in terms of gaming, the K70 Pro TKL is fantastic. And the linear switches are light and responsive, which is great for FPS games, or just in general fast-paced games. The one feature that I didn't really feel as much, as I'm not exactly the most competitive gamer out there, and also the fast-paced gamer, is the rapid trigger feature. The feature will dynamically adjust the actuation and reset point of each key, allowing for quicker repeated key presses without needing to fully release the key. Now, this is especially useful for competitive gaming where quick and precise movements are crucial for staying ahead of your opponents. So I didn't notice it that much, again, because I'm not the most fast-paced gamer out there, but I'm sure if you are, then you would definitely know the difference. Now, like I mentioned before, these are red linear switches. I personally like more of a tactile, like brown switch, but even I found the MGX switches to be great, even if I don't play that many competitive games anymore. The custom actuation points is fun, and it can be a major benefit to those who want to squeeze out every last benefit they can to get that edge over their opponents. Also, the wrist rest is also a very nice addition and a big win for comfortability, so for those long gaming sessions. That's also a nice add. Now, to wrap things up, the Corsair K70 Pro TKL is a solid keyboard, especially if you value speed and customization. The magnetic switches, the adjustable actuation, and the comfortable wrist rest make it a beast for hardcore gamers out there. Now, if money wasn't a problem, I don't see why you would actually go for any other keyboard that doesn't have these switches, because they're such a benefit towards your gaming experience with all of the customization that you can add. So yeah, I don't really see why you would go for anything else. However, for me personally, I wouldn't see any real benefits going for the Pro compared to the Core, seeing as I don't really play that much competitive games anymore, and I just play mostly casual games, especially at almost double the cost. So I would honestly just go for the Core here because almost everything else is exactly the same, and the switches are also very nice. Now the polymers is very nice, so that could be a selling point, and also being able to adjust the actuation point of all of the keys for typing, that's very nice. But also I don't think it's still a big enough reason for me to actually get this keyboard. But now that's pretty much it for my look at the Corsair K70 Pro TKL here. Just a beast of a keyboard, even though it's not necessarily for me personally. It might just be the beast of a keyboard for you. Yeah, I don't think that made much sense. But anyway, so I do hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hopefully it helped you decide on if this is going to be your next keyboard, or if you might just go for the Core version instead at a cheaper price point. But anyway, a big shout out to Corsair for sending all of the keyboards over for review. I'm not getting to keep them or anything, so they have to go back. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And my opinions are my own, whatever. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment like always. And again, go check out my other channels, Hardware Overload, Gaming Overload, and also Unbox Overload for a lot more content. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll check all of you next time. Cheers, guys.